Hello, hello, and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video. And I'm just out here on my business page checking to make sure that I'm live here on the page, which it looks like I am. And it's going to take me a second to pull the video up so that I can see your comments and things when you guys hop in and say hello and that sort of thing. So, all right, looks like we're up and going, so good deal. If you are hopping in during the live video, feel free to say hello, and I appreciate you being here. If you're watching the replay, that is just fantastic too, so feel free to leave comments or questions, and I'll be checking the video, and we can chat more about whatever you got for questions. So today I'm going to show you how I made a card with the Timeless Tulips stamp set and the Tulip Builder punch, as well as some of the Please Just Punch Designer Series paper, which is available now as one of the coordination products that they started back in early February, and they're available while supplies last through the end of celebration. And I'm just going to pull that out real quickly and show you. This is the flyer, and it's out on my blog, so if you have questions about it, definitely take a look out there, and I'll be posting it. When I share this card out on my page as well, I'll post another copy of the flyer because it's not in any catalog, it's just a flyer. So there are some new die sets. The Nature's Thoughts dies coordinates with the Positive Thoughts stamp set from the mini catalog. The Special Day dies coordinates with the Special Someone stamp set from the mini catalog. And then we have the Ladybug dies that coordinates with the Celebration Host stamp set. And then the Sending Flowers dies that coordinate with the Celebration Sending You Thoughts stamp set. And then we have the birthday dies, which coordinate with the Happy Birthday to You stamp sets from Celebration. And then we have the Please Just Punch Designer Series paper. And it coordinates with a whole bunch of the punches from the new mini catalog. And one of the punches it coordinates with is the Tulip Builder punch, which is probably easier to see turned upside down because there's no glare on it. So, hey Connie, thanks for hopping in. Hi Debbie, thanks for joining today as well. And I did want to warn you, there is a gentleman who is here who is installing a new heating and air conditioning unit, and fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure which, is right underneath my office. So you may be hearing some odd bangs and clangs and that sort of thing. It's just him installing the new unit, which I'm happy that we have it. Hopefully it'll be a lot quieter than the last one I had, which was so loud that every time it would come on, it would like interrupt the video. So just be aware, there's somebody down there. If there's a lot of banging, you'll know what's going on. So, hey Nancy, thanks for hopping in today. So, all right, so this is the card that we're gonna make. And again, with the Timeless Tulip stamp set, which is in the mini catalog, the January to June 2020 mini catalog. And then, hey, Barbara, thanks for hopping in today. And then it's got a coordinating punch that is sold with it in a bundle right now. So it's a really, again, good punch. I always love a punch. Just because, it's easy, a little easier than a dies to use, and you don't have to have the die cutting machine, that sort of thing. So these two items are sold together as a bundle for 10% off right now in the mini catalog. I better trying to set some of this aside and not put it too far out. Then a couple of other stamp sets that I used on this. I used the Rare Blessings stamp set, which this is one of those stamp sets from the annual catalog that I didn't necessarily look at initially, but man, I love the fonts in it. I love the sentiments in it. So just some good ones. And so I used the Just For You stamp from the Rare Blessings stamp set on the card front. And then on the inside of the card, I actually used a Happy Birthday stamp from the By the Dock stamp set, which is one that is in the new mini catalog. So that's what the inside of the card looks like. So, hey, Karen, thanks for hopping on today. Glad you were able to make it. So, all right, so let's get going with the card. And I'm sure you cannot see the score line at all on here since it's white on white. But this is a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock that is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2, so scored right down the middle. This card design definitely would work with a book fold card, which would be the 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Kind of your typical card base. This is just the way I prefer to make them is the more is it portrait, I guess? Anyway, the more tent card version is what I prefer to use for my card bases. So we got that as the card base. And then the next thing I did was I took a piece of Whisper White cardstock and I trimmed the edge of it. Hopefully you can see it. I'm not sure. Hopefully you can see the little scalloped edge on there, with one of the dies from the Be Mine, or Stitched Be Mine dies, again from the annual catalog. So this is a good little border die, and I like that it's nice and long, so it'll go along basically any card front size that you've got. It'll trim along the edge, which definitely a good die set to have. And again, that's in the annual catalog. So I used it to trim down a piece of Whisper White cardstock on one side. And then I knew the size of the designer series paper that I was going to be using. And again, this is from the Please Just Punch designer series paper, which is in the coordination products right now. So it's 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So when I actually had cut the Whisper White panel kind of oversized, and see there, I said there's going to be some noises, and he's down there doing something underneath me. Yikes! Hopefully you can still hear me. Sorry. It's been kind of quiet all morning, so I thought, oh, I'll be fine, hop on and do the video. Clearly not. So hey, Julie, I'm glad you're hopping in and catching me live today too. And Roz is here as well. So sorry, back to the project. I knew it was going to be 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So I had made the Whisper White panel a little bit oversized and basically placed the designer paper over the top of it and then trimmed it down so that it was the right size. In total, this, if you count to the bottom of the scallops, from the bottom of the scallops to the top of it, it's 4 1/8 this way by 4 inches this way. So, yikes, that's really loud. I'm sorry. So anyway, so we'll go ahead and start. Well, actually, I'm going to stamp the sentiment very first thing. Let me get the Just For You again from the Rare Blessing stamp set. We're going to do that in Granny Apple Green ink. Goodness. This is going to be lovely on the replay for everybody too, listening to the air conditioner guy downstairs. So, all right, doing a little stamp in here. All right, so we got the card front stamped. I'm going to set that aside and hopefully not stick my fingers in it or anything else. Then I'm going to get a little bit of snail, and we're going to adhere the designer series paper to the Whisper White panel that I had pre-cut with the die, the scalloped edge die. So, whoop, got it a little too close with the snail there. And then I just basically centered this from the stitched edge all the way around. So the scallops I didn't count in my centering. I just did it from the stitched edge. So it's not too bad. Okay, you can still hear me. I'm glad because, gosh, it got loud all of a sudden. Yikes. So there was a little bit of banging early this morning, but it's been pretty quiet. So like I said, I thought I'd be okay, but apparently not. So, and I hate to tell him to wait because, I want to get the new unit done and get it taken care of. So, all right, using a little snail to adhere that together. And then I'm going to set the card base aside while I pull out some of the other pieces of the Please Just Punch designer series paper. So, as you can see, they're very pretty tulips just as they are. And but actually, I saw somebody out on Facebook, everything's on Facebook. So I saw somebody out on Facebook actually took the tulip images and stamped them right over the top in the same color ink over the top. And it just adds so much more. I don't know if putting them side by side, hopefully you can see, it just adds a lot of kind of color and dimension and everything to it when you stamp the image over the top of it. And it's super easy to do. That's the one nice thing. So let me go ahead and get going on that. So we're going to use the little Gorgeous Grape ink, and we're going to stamp over the purple tulip. The hardest part is kind of, again, because I'm not right up over the top of it, is trying to make sure that I'm stamping it in the right spot. Because, like I said, normally when the camera's not in the middle, in between you and me, or me and the paper, then I can see it pretty well. But it's a little harder when I've got a camera stuck in between. And then we got a little Mango Melody we're going to use on one of the orange ones. So I know I couldn't, when I saw that, I'm like, gosh, how did I not think of doing this before now? But, it was a great idea, and it looked fantastic when she got all done with it. So I was just, and she did actually stamped her whole piece of designer series paper, which probably is a good idea because it looks really good. So she just kind of went over all the purple ones, all the orange ones, all the, pink ones, and just did them all at once rather than doing individual colors. So get out the Blushing Bride ink. We're going to stamp the pink flower and hopefully get it centered up here. And then we're going to do the final one that I did was a Calypso Coral. The other one that I could have done was Daffodil Delight, which that one's the kind of yellow color on here. But I picked I picked Calypso Coral and just stuck with it for both of the cards. Like I said, I don't really know why. It's not necessarily one over the other. I think they all kind of mix and match. So I think you can't go wrong no matter what you do with it. So, All right, I'm going to set that. I better clean that before I stick that in another color ink later on the card and then have a disaster. So it definitely adds a lot more definition and depth. And like I said, when I saw it, I'm like, gosh, she's brilliant. So, again, why didn't I think of that? That's so basic, but it looks so pretty. I mean, like I said, it's pretty as it is, but I thought this just added so much extra to it that I couldn't help but not do it and show you. All right, so got a little Granny Apple Green ink that I'm stamping over the leaves. This one I got a little wild on, so I may do a 5th leaf here just because I got a little crookedy on that one, and hopefully I'll get the rest of them stamped fairly straight. All right, there we go. Yeah, okay, that looks better. Okay, so those are the ones we're going to go with instead. Now, the only thing that's a little bit annoying, and I'm just not a fussy cutter, so that's the one thing that's that I don't necessarily love about it, is that you do have to kind of hack up your paper, but the one bonus is that not being a fussy cutter, you don't have to be too terribly careful. The only thing you have to be a little careful of is just not getting too close to the edge of any of your flowers so that you leave enough of the border around it, that it doesn't take away the kind of even white border around your flower as you are punching it out. So, all right, snip out the pink one. What other one do we have left here? I feel like there should be, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just have to get the leaves snipped out. Now, that's the one that's all crookedy, so don't need that one necessarily. And then, of course, I realized that I left my Post-it note laying over on my desk, so I'm going to have to wheel over as soon as I get this hacked out here. Going to have to wheel over and grab my Post-it notes off my desk, because that's the one other little trick when you're using kind of these snipped up pieces of paper, when they're cut up a little bit smaller and don't necessarily fit very well into your punch. Hold on. All right, wheeled over and grabbed the little Post-it note. And basically you can use that to hold each of your images as you run them through the punch. Because as you can see, trying to put it in here, it's going to be it's hard because the piece of paper isn't quite long enough. So if you take your little handy Post-it note, find the sticky side, which is here, and then I'm going to take it and put it in, use this as my sort of, I better go on the other side though, or I'm going to punch a big hole in this where I didn't want it. A little bit of planning for Amy, and that doesn't always go as well. All right, that looks better. So we're going to stick this into the punch, hopefully. There we go. And then I can easily use my little Post-it note sort of to guide the paper around inside it and get everything lined up where I want it, and then punch it. And then just simply peel it off, grab the next one, and do the very same thing. Hey, Christine, thanks for hopping in and saying hello. Glad you're here joining us today. So there we go. Get this one lined up and punched. All right. There we go. Got 2 down. A little bit tedious, but like I said, I liked the end result. I was pretty happy with the way that turned out. So I think it's worth the effort to do a little stamping and a little punching with that really cool designer series paper. So, all right, so let me see if I can get this one in here and punched. Okay. And then if your Post-it note gets kind of unsticky along the edge as you're using it, you can always just grab another one, throw this one in the recycling bin, grab another one, and you just keep on punching. So, all right. And I'm trying to kind of stack up my things that I have punched out and keep them away from the things that I have as scraps because, stuff gets lost, especially when you got a pile of paper sitting on your desk. So, trying to get this one lined up. There we go. Okay. And we've got the purple tulip over here that we will punch out as well. So we've only got about 3 weeks left of celebration. It's getting right down there, which, you know, when it first starts, I'm like, gosh, you know, celebration is so long and we're going to have plenty of time to do everything. And then all of a sudden the celebration is ending and I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. I don't think I have everything that I want yet. So I don't know if you guys all are the same way. Okay, I feel like I'm missing, oh, here we go. So I'm missing one. Am I missing a flower? I'll have to look and count here a second and make sure. Hopefully I didn't punch something that I wasn't supposed to. All right, so we got this. We're missing the Calypso Coral flower. Oh, there it is. Okay. And hopefully I've got just enough sticky left on it that I can still do the last one. So yeah, we only got about 3 weeks left of celebration, so make sure you're getting your orders in. And at this point, the stamp sets aren't as much of a concern, but any of the embellishments or the extras that are celebration items are while supplies last. So definitely, if there are things that you're wanting that are not necessarily stamp sets, make sure you're getting on ordering those soon so that you can get them, because things are starting to run out, and I'd hate for you to miss out. The new designer papers, the 2 new ones that are available are absolutely beautiful. So you definitely want to get some of that vellum and get some of that pretty foil designer paper as well. So be sure you're getting your orders in soon to make sure you can get your hands on some of that stuff. So, all right, next thing I did was just took a little bit of snail and adhered a leaf onto each one of the flower punches. And I adhered them all on the same side. Oop. See, there I go with the snail. Yikes. I adhered them all on the same side just because I don't think this works as well for the leaf. So that's my personal opinion. I mean, if I'd done them all that way, I think it would, but I don't know. Like I said, I thought they looked better having them all on one side rather than flipping them and doing one way or the other. So I just kind of tilted the flowers as I glued them onto the page rather than switching the leaf. So, all right, so let's get this last little one stuck on here. And then we're going to use a little bit of snail to adhere the flowers, 3 of the flowers, to the card front. And I'm going to start up here kind of near the top. And we're going to adhere on the Blushing Bride first. Blushing Bride flower, not the Blushing Bride. And then we got the Mango Melody is next. And again, there's no like specific way you have to put them on. This is just how I thought that, you know, colors sort of looked. It was lighter to darker in my head. Now, again, I'm not sure whether that's really true, but that's how the colors appeared to be in my head when I was looking at it. So add on the Mango Melody. And then we're going to put our Calypso Coral flower on. And I'm just kind of tilting them opposite directions as I go down the page. And then the last one is the Gorgeous Grape, and we stuck that on with a couple of little Stampin' Dimensionals. And you all know that if you've watched my videos before, that I like to cut my Stampin' Dimensionals right down the middle in half because they work better for me that way. I like the size of them better. And the half ones hold just as well as the whole ones do, just in case you were wondering. So, all right, so the final one we're going to put on here. Kind of tilt it that way. And then the last thing for the card front we've got is one of the glitter enamel dots. I don't know for sure if these are going to be retired at the end of the catalog, but I sort of suspect they will. And they're one of my very favorite embellishments because they're flat and they're so sparkly and pretty. So again, if you don't have these things, you'll definitely want to get some. I don't know that they're going to be retired at the end of the catalog, but they've been around for 2 years, so that's kind of a while. Normally the embellishments only last for a year or so, and then they're gone. So make sure you're getting yourself stocked up on those during celebration and getting some free goodies from Stampin' Up! While you're doing it. All right, so moving to the inside of the card. The sentiment is from the By the Dock stamp set, and I just used the Happy Birthday one and a little bit of the Granny Apple Green ink. And hopefully I will get it stamped somewhat centered and somewhat straight. That's usually my main goal when I do this. And then, whoops, I'll just leave this open for a second because we're going to do a little stamping with some of the flowers. So we've got the tulip image here and Blushing Bride that I'm going to use on the flower, and we're just going to stamp it next to the birthday sentiment. And then going to come back in with Granny Apple Green, ink up the leaf, and stamp that next to the tulip image. And we'll call that good for the inside. So I'm going to close these up because I will probably stick my card or my fingers in it if I don't. And then we're going to use a little bit of snail to adhere this to the inside of the card base. Whoop, and I just ran out of snail. So, well, and of course I didn't bring a spare snail out, so we'll just switch and add a little multi-purpose liquid glue instead. So, changing it on the fly with the glue, trying not to stick my fingers in it now. All right, should be good to go here. Okay, and that is the inside of the card, so I'm just going to fold it shut and do a quick crease on here. And that is my card share for today. So hopefully you like them. Again, this is the original one that I did. This is the one we did here on camera. And if you don't have that Please Just Punch Designer Series paper, make sure you're getting yourself a pack of that before celebration ends, because that will be going away. At least from what we've been told, that pack of paper will not be carrying over past the end of celebration. So make sure you get your orders put in and get a pack of that pretty paper. It's beautiful. Colors are perfect for spring and summer. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, there are links to the pack of paper out of my blog today, and I'll be posting them again tomorrow when I post this card. The details and the cardstock cuts and links to all the products used will also be posted tomorrow on my blog, so feel free to stop by and check out the details then. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much for hopping in, and I appreciate your comments and for spending part of your Tuesday with me. I will be back on YouTube Live on Friday, and then plan to be back next week Tuesday on Facebook Live again, so chat with y'all soon.